Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we're going to talk about information consumption, information silos, and a little bit of farm safety. Because, I use that term, information silo, a lot. And I've had people ask, about the term recently. Now, the reality is, as soon as I heard it, I loved it because I immediately drew a comparison to something else. Now, come to find out, the person who came up with the term, they may not have known that they had stumbled onto the absolutely perfect analogy. They may have just meant that the information was self-contained. It was walled off from everything else. But when I heard it, I thought about a grain silo immediately because it's the exact same thing. Before I go into this, for all of the reasons I'm about to say, do not go into a grain silo, okay? And if you are one of those people who walks down the grain, stop. Okay, so if you don't know what one is, that place that you had as a kid, the red barn, and then the giant tube with the dome on top. That giant tube with the dome on top, that's a silo. Inside of it is grain. And up at the top, you can go in, but you could go in and stand on the grain. And it's a lot like your first glance at a theory. It looks good, looks sturdy, looks stable, just like a theory. But if you get to poking around in that theory, you're going to find holes down below that nice crusty veneer, right? Same thing in a grain silo. There are cavities, there are voids. And if one of those collapses, you go down. If it's big enough, you end up going in over your head, just like in a theory. And you're done. In a grain silo, you are done. I want to say you have 90 seconds from the time it covers you. But that's not the only risk, because even if you only get down to, say, chest deep, you're stuck. Just like with the theory. The grain of the information, the little bits of theory, there's so much pressure on you that you can't get out. You can't go anywhere. You can't pull yourself out. Your friends and family and coworkers, they can see you, but they can't really help either. Because a lot of times, even if they were to get a rope to you, they don't have the force to get you out. And if they do, sometimes it's more than the human body can take. Just like with theories, it often takes professional help. And what they do is they show up and they literally wall you off from the information, from the grain. They build retaining walls around you to get the pressure off of you until they can get you out. It's the perfect analogy because that's how it works. People don't dive into these theories thinking that they're going to end up the way a lot of people are right now. They think they're on firm ground, and they're not. Something gives way, they get sucked down, and then they're done. And sometimes even if they want out, they can't do it alone. And oftentimes the people around them, they don't have the tools to help. So it has always been the perfect analogy to me. Now, for all the reasons I just said, I'm going to say this again. Don't go in a grain silo. And there are still people, I guess, that walk down the grain, which is the process of having the bottom open. And yeah, don't do that. Okay? I'd point out that the trope of, how dangerous farming is, in almost all other aspects of farming, things are getting a whole lot safer, except for the silos. Stop. Okay. So that's where that term comes from. And then you have to wonder, when it comes to the theories, why is there that much grain in the silo? Why is there that much pressure? Because somebody else described it perfectly recently. It's a game of telephone by a whole bunch of different theorists, storytellers. And the goal is to make the story a little bit more interesting, make it more appealing, make it something that people can't let go of, so they keep coming back to your website. So it's a game of telephone where the more likely your information is to cause something horrible to happen, the more you get paid. As long as that profit model's around, we're going to have a whole lot of people stuck. We're going to have a whole lot of people getting sucked down. So that's where the term comes from, at least in my mind. Again, come to find out the person who came up with it may not have even known that part. I'm one of those things where, much like in conspiracy theories, your mind assigns meaning to something because you see a pattern. You can relate it to something in your own life. It happens all the time. I don't know that there is an easy answer to this. I think it's probably, for a whole lot of people, it's going to end up like being entrapped in grain. You may need to call in people with the right tools. You may need to call in the professionals. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.